Ẹ̀yin èèyàn mi, ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò yìí. Orúkọ mi ni Tito, and I make videos on personal finance on my other channel. You thought the intro was going to be Yoruba, abi? Wà pẹ́ńbẹ̀. I make videos on personal finance on my other channel. On this channel, I talk about other things, like today, when I'll be reviewing the new Nollywood film on Netflix, The House of Ga'a. Now, before I get to the review, how about we take a moment to appreciate my fantastic outfit? You have to admit, I do look kind of good. I decided to stay in line with my tradition of wearing traditional attire to review epic Yoruba films here on my channel. If you see my reviews of Anikulapo the movie, Anikulapo the series, and I think Jagun Jagun, I wore traditional attire in all those reviews, so here we are again. I don't know how much longer I'll be able to sustain this, but hey, who knows? That's not the point now. The point now is that I look good and I deserve a round of applause. Hey guys, I'm interrupting the video very briefly to ask a small favor of you. Like this video and subscribe to my channel as well by clicking on the black subscribe button. You doing those things would help me, this video, and my channel a great deal. In addition, an advert or two is going to play in the course of this video. Please be sure to watch them because that's how I make money from YouTube. Thank you if you've done any of those things, or if you will do any of those things. Now let's head back to the video. Now, House of Ga'a is directed by Bolanle Austin Peters. You guys remember her, right? She directed Funke Ransom Kuti, which I reviewed not too long ago. Anyway, this film is a story about a mighty warrior and his family who come into power, and they rule a bunch of towns in the old Oyo Kingdom with an iron fist. Ga'a is eventually made a Bashorun and a kingmaker, and he becomes quite drunk with power, and ultimately he makes lots of enemies and people want to unseat him. Incidentally, this film is based on real-life events. In the 16th century in southwestern Nigeria, there was an actual Bashorun Ga'a, and many of the things that happened in this film happened in real life. For example, during his tenure as Bashorun, so to speak, right, there were 5 Alaafins that came and went, and he either deposed 4 of them or was instrumental in their deaths. And it was the 5th Alaafin, Alaafin Abiodun, that managed to stop his reign of terror, his tyranny, like we saw in the movie. So yeah, I learned that after seeing the movie and I was quite stunned. Now, this Yoruba film boasts of a very impressive cast with really good performances from Femi Branch as the title character Ga'a, Micah Folarin as his son Oyo Mesi, Jide Jeblaze Oyegbile as his older son Olautan, Ibrahim Chata is in the film, Femi Adebayo is in the film, Adedimeji Lateef is in the film, and for the first time, to my knowledge, in the same film, Funke Akindele and Toyin Abraham. I like how in the film, they had a couple of shots where they had 2 of them in the same frame to say, look, we've got these 2 Nollywood megastars in this film. This is a big deal. So that was interesting to see. They had a scene together, but I don't think their characters spoke to each other. Anyway, moving on. Bimbo Manuel was in the film. I always enjoy seeing him in movies. It was a star-studded film, right? But to look at a few of the performances one by one, Femi Branch was really good. He was enjoyable to watch. He's no stranger to playing a villain, and I don't think I've ever seen him play a more despicable character than this character, Ga'a. And the transformation, because the facial hair, Femi Branch always has like a solid beard, but he shaved the beard for this role, and even the look changed in the film, and that was impressive to see. But he was this despicable character, very believable in the role, and he did a really good job. However, I did find myself wanting a bit more. Funny enough, from the character, I found myself, like I tend to with many of these films, wanting to know the motivations of the main character. I don't feel like we really understood what drove Ga'a, what made him to be so power hungry and so power drunk, right? So I feel like that was a thing. Moving on to Jide Jeblaze Oyegbile, who played Olautan. He did a really good job. Jeblaze is also a director and a producer of other projects, right? He's done some notable projects. So I was watching him intently because it's always interesting to see when a director is an actor in somebody else's project. I wanted to see how he'd just perform generally and how he'd interpret his role. And I think he did a really good job because you have that knowledge, of how you want things to look as a director. And now when you're in the role of the actor, in the shoes of the actor, it feels like you would know better, or you should know better in terms of the interpretation of the role. So I was, like I said, watching him closely in his performance as Olautan, and I think he did a decent enough job as an actor, producer, director, you know, the whole shebang, right? Interesting fact, I'm going to talk about Ibrahim Chatta next, but I listened to Jay Blaze and Tosin on my friend's show, a show that I was on not too long ago, just for the AMVCAs. Hashtag MTSS. It's hosted by my friends Presley, Obed, and Okiki. They had Jay Blaze and Tosin on the show just on Saturday, the day after the movie came out. And fun fact, Jay Blaze said that in that scene where Olaotan takes Ibrahim Chatta's character and like flings him against the wall, in that scene, apparently Jay Blaze dislocated Ibrahim Chatta's shoulder. Because when I saw that scene while watching the film, I was like, whoa, that was a bit intense. You know, that was some serious physical acting. Apparently, there were repercussions and he dislocated Ibrahim Chatta's shoulder. But I guess that shows the commitment that Jay Blaze had to playing Olaotan and, you know, the guy looking the part with the physical acting and whatnot. But coming to Ibrahim Chatta's character, I can't remember the character's name, but he's the divinator or the Babalawo, or the medicine man, you know, that in this film. And I think that's a role that Ibrahim Chatta is no stranger to, because in a few of these films that I've seen Ibrahim Chatta in, he's always this medicine guy who is, you know, doing concoctions and casting spells and helping people to overcome their enemies using black magic and whatnot. More recently in Malaika, which I saw back in December, which hasn't come on the streaming platforms yet. But yeah, he's no stranger to that kind of role. And when I saw him, I was like, yeah, Ibrahim Chatta in this kind of role again. But he does it so well. He did it really well in this film as well. And another fun fact, kind of, is my favorite scene in the movie was the scene that Ibrahim Chatta and Michael Folarin have in the movie where Michael Folarin's character, Oyemeku, kills Ibrahim Chatta's character. I felt like they really delivered in that scene. I felt the acting. I felt like these were two actors, right, who wanted to give 110% to this scene. It was an intense scene, and I felt like the acting in that scene was brilliant, and it delivered on the emotions and the intensity that it was meant to. So yeah, that was my favorite scene in the film. Shout outs to Ibrahim Chatta and to Michael Folarin. Finally, I'll talk about the fantastic, talented Tosin Adeyemi. Now, for those of you who don't know Tosin Adeyemi, well, this was her Netflix debut, right? The first Netflix film she's in. But for those of you who've been going for a few plays at Terra Culture, particularly for Moremi a few years ago, Tosin Adeyemi, in my opinion, is one of the best stage and theater actors we have in Nigeria. I saw her in Moremi before COVID, I think 2018 or 17, right? And I'd seen her in other things before that. But it's when I saw her in Moremi that she made a lasting impression. I saw that play with a bunch of friends of mine, and after the play, we all like followed her. I think we even took a picture with her after the play. We bombarded her on social media, on Instagram, and that's at that point we became friends. We followed each other, and we've been friends ever since. But my point is, Tosin is a brilliant stage and theater actress, and she's in this film as Zainab, the young lady who gets captured and becomes Ga'a's prisoner, and ultimately his wife at some point. Good performance, really good performance. I think I had some kind of bias because I'm so used to seeing Tosin play this, I don't know, like a freedom fighter, or the character who liberates her people. She either liberates herself or liberates her people from some sort of bondage, you know. In the stage plays I've seen her in, I think she was something similar to that in Moremi. So with that bias, seeing Tosin in that or through that lens for so long on stage, I felt like in this film, House of Ga'a, that Zainab was going to be the kind of character that liberated her people, or at least herself, or the other prisoners that were in Ga'a's possession or in captivity or whatever. The point I'm trying to make, because I'm going round and round right now, is that I thought Tosin's character would be a bit more instrumental. I thought she'd be a bit more of a heroine in this film, as opposed to this young woman who was just a slave, who was just there, you know. I was a bit let down, but it was not a function of Tosin's performance, which was really good. It was just a function of how the character was written, because the character was not a freedom fighter or anyone who was going to liberate anyone. She was just a slave who was just, you know, trying to get by day. So yeah, but I wish there was more of a heroine element to the character Zainab. In fact, the way things ended for her at the end of the film, she just becomes somebody else's slave at the end of the film. I felt like, I don't know, like she deserved better in the film. What I liked, wow, the cast was good. Let's start with that. But the performances, some were better than others. Some stood out to me. And not because they were like super fantastic, but maybe because I just like seeing some of these actors in these roles, you know, or they were, you know, roles I've never seen them in before, or they were just roles I've seen them in before, but were interpreted slightly differently. For example, Dele Odule, you know, who was in the film. It was nice to see him in that capacity. He didn't talk too much, but I liked seeing him in the film. Toyin Oshinaike, who is a brilliant actor, both in film and on stage. He was, you know, in the film briefly, you know, because he was killed by Ga'a, like, really quickly. And I think he only had 1 or 2 scenes. But for the short time he's in the film, I enjoyed seeing him in the film. Bimbo Manuel, I always enjoy seeing Bimbo Manuel in films, so he was good. Stan Nze was apparently in the film. He was in that battle scene at the beginning. Kudos to him, because Stan is always pushing himself. You know, him being in a Yoruba film, it's a bit of a big deal, so kudos to him. And then, of course, Femi Branch's performance. It was evident that Femi Branch was really committed to delivering on this character and to delivering this role, and he did a brilliant job. Ibrahim Chata, like I said earlier, I enjoyed his performance. Mike Afolari really tried as well. But aside from the performances, I can't really say anything in particular, you know, appealed to me. I'm thinking about the set pieces in the film, but none of the set pieces really stood out. I can't remember what any particular set piece in this film looked like, because I don't think anything in particular stood out to me. Also, I would like to say the fight scene choreography. I wish I could say the fight scene choreography impressed me, but it didn't really, to be honest. So at the end of the day, just the performances and the cast is what I liked. Did I like the story? I liked the story, but I don't know, there aren't that many individual things that I could pick in this film to say that I liked. I think that's the issue. What I didn't like. Give me a second, guys. Let me make sure I'm looking good for y'all. Yes, I am. What I didn't like the abrupt ending of this film. The ending felt a bit rushed. Yeah. It was drawn out, that whole scene where the village is attacked by, you know, the other guys and whatnot. But it felt like, you know, just boom, 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 end of movie. And it felt rather abrupt. I also felt like a few things needed to be explained, you know, in this film. I feel maybe they were, but they were cut out in post-production. For example, how Oyo Mesi, played by Mike Afolari, was able to just, you know, rattle that prison cage or whatever, the prison bars, and he's able to escape from prison. Fine, I'll allow that. But for him to have escaped the whole village while the village was under attack was a bit of a stretch. I was willing to let that slide. But for him to actually make it out of the village on horseback with a huge arrow in his back, and he doesn't just like make it like a 10 or 15-minute journey to somewhere where he finds safety. No, he goes all the way from his village to another village, something that's probably like a few days journey, with a huge arrow in his back. You know how when you see some things in a movie and you're like, wait. Wait. I know that this guy did not just get on a horse and leave a town that was under attack by like some serious warriors, some really bad guys who have bows and arrows. And he just manages to find his way out of the town. And there's a huge arrow on his back, or in his back. That scene almost ruined the film for me, I cannot lie. Because it didn't just... Moving on. Something else that I felt needed to be explained, or may have been explained in production but was cut out in editing, was how the women of the village were able to suddenly bear arms. Because we see when the hall is attacked, you know, at the end of the film, and the hall is infiltrated, they're coming for Ga'a, and they're killing everybody in sight. But before they do, the women take up arms and they're defending themselves. I was like, when did we establish that these women know how to fight? Because we see Toyin Abraham all of a sudden she's slashing dudes. So I was like, wait a minute, how are these women able to do this? Finally, I feel like this movie could have done with there being a big plan or a grand plan on Ga'a's part, because he didn't seem to have like a grand plan or something that he was working towards. Because at a point while watching this film, I was like, hold up, what's the main aim of this film? Where is the villain going? Where are the main characters going? What's their main objective? Or are we just going from one mini story to another mini story until we get to the end? Is there not an overarching thing or objective that we're working towards? yeah, those are the things I didn't like about the film. I think the biggest thing I didn't like about the film, and this is kind of tied to like the elephant in the room, no, not the nudity, is how this film seems to have not done anything unique. Let me explain. Since King of Thieves, it seems as if every other, well, King of Thieves and then Jagun Jagun came out. It seems like all of these epic Nollywood films that have come out since Jagun Jagun exist in the shadow of Jagun Jagun, because we can't help but compare them because of similar cast members, similar set pieces, similar storylines, similar main characters or antagonists or protagonists. There's just so many similarities that you would think that the filmmakers would try and go the extra mile to try and set themselves apart so that they don't exist in the shadow of Jagun Jagun or King of Thieves. Because, I mean, even this film, House of Ga'a, King of Thieves, Jagun Jagun, you had Adedimeji Lateef and Femi Adebayo, and maybe even Ibrahim Chatta in all three films. Was Ibrahim Chatta in Jagun Jagun? I'm not sure, but I do know Femi Adebayo and Adedimeji Lateef were in all three films. So my point is, if you're going to do these Yoruba epics, be creative. And I did not see the creativity in this film. And I think with Bolanle Osinpita's films, she could do with a little bit more creativity. I was really hoping that I'd see close-up shots. I was hoping to see some, I don't know, some body cam shots, some motion, I don't know, just creative things. You know how in the recent Bad Boys film, Bad Boys Ride or Die, they tried some creativity, you know, particularly in a few scenes, but more notably, that scene where Will Smith had the body cam on him and he was holding the gun and he had that POV, right? We saw the behind the scenes of that scene. I'll try and put it on the screen if I can find it. That was creative. And those creative shots kind of made this Bad Boys film stand out from the other Bad Boys films, the other three, you know, and maybe other films in that category. My point is, I think people who are, or filmmakers who are going to make these epic Yoruba films like Jagun Jagun, King of Thieves, and whatnot, should try and infuse a bit more creativity, particularly with the cinematography, when they're making these films, to try and make them stand out, especially if they're going to have the same actors, Yoruba actors in these films, and the same like costumes and the same set pieces. Try with the camera work or something to make your project a bit more different. And Bolanle Osinpita is a fantastic director, but I feel like her films could use a little bit more creativity, a little bit more of a creative touch. She's a good storyteller, and she likes to, I think, get to the point without razzle-dazzle. But I do think that at this point, these Yoruba Nollywood films need a bit more razzle-dazzle to make them stand out or stand apart from the top two, which are King of Thieves and Jagun Jagun. In conclusion, I wish that House of Ga'a had more depth, had more creative cinematography, and had a better ending. You see, it's that ending that rubbed me the wrong way, because throughout the movie, for like the majority of the movie, I was just enjoying it. It was just average, right? But then that ending, with how Oyemeku miraculously finds his way to another village with an arrow in his back, and Zainab being transferred from one ruler to another just like that without any real impact in the film, and Ga'a himself being burnt at the stake with his king's guard without him having a moment where he, for example, realizes the errors of his ways or asks for forgiveness or something like that. He doesn't really have a moment, right? Everything just kind of fell a bit flat at the end, and it almost ruined the movie for me. Anyway, based on that, I give this film, House of Ga'a, 2.5 jollofs over 5. 2.5 over 5. If it had a better ending, maybe it would have gotten a 3 from me, or a 3.5, but I'm giving it 2.5 over 5. What did you guys think about the House of Ga'a? It's not the House of Ga'a, it's just House of Ga'a. What did you guys think about the film? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm sure you have thoughts about House of Ga'a. Share them in the comment section down below. Do remember to like this video by clicking on the like button just underneath the video, and subscribe to my channel as well by clicking on the black subscribe button. On this channel, I don't just do Nollywood movie reviews where I dress up and look like a Yoruba traditional leader. I also talk about some other things. To check out some of my past reviews and some of my past videos, you can click the card in the corner of the screen. You can check out my Jagun Jagun review or my review of Funmilayo Ransom Kuti, which was also directed by Bolanle Austin Peters, which I mentioned earlier. I have a bunch of reviews. Check them out. Also, let me know in the comment section down below what you think I should review next, because Nollywood films come out so quickly that I can't even keep up. So maybe I should just ask you guys what you think I should review next. So let me know in the comment section down below. Even I don't know at this point what the next thing I'll review is. There was Kilometer 17, which came out the same day that House of Ga'a came out. That came out on Prime Video. I'm wondering if I should review that. Anyway, I'll think about it and I'll get back to you guys. I hope you've liked. I hope you've subscribed. So thank you guys so much for watching this long review. These reviews of these Yoruba epics that I do always tend to be long. I don't know if you mind, but if you do mind, oh, hey, you made it to this point. So thank you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next review. Take care.